Hi, Gaye DeRusso with Majestic Rider. So just going to show you some exercises. So this is my clock pattern, but I put more, George is getting in the way, poles in between. So you can see there's 2, 4, 6, 8 poles here. And this is to help the Pacey horses, the ones that don't know where their feet are, that have already done the clock pattern. And now we're up for a bigger challenge. Okay, because you don't want to start with this, it's too overwhelming. So we'll help the Pacey horses, lunge them over it, see if you can get them trotting. When they trot, stop and give them a break, because the trot in the end will help square up their gait, but you're not going to trot them under saddle. This is Georgia. I'm also going to show you another exercise to help their canter, because she's still getting her canter, and when she's loose she can trot, but she also just gaits. And sometimes when they do that, they don't canter as well as the ones that just trot. So I have a Davis weighted bell boot on her outside front foot, and we are going to canter to the right now. And what I'm going to do is I have a short rope. It's probably about 16 feet. And I'm going to canter small circles down that way and small circles down this way. That's to help her to learn her balance and how to keep her hindquarter underneath herself. It's very hard, so when I get down there, I'm going to stop and rest her, and then I'm going to canter her back. It's not very long, but if she starts acting up, because you know some young horses can, then I'm going to keep going until she can calmly canter and she holds the correct lead. Every time she's on the wrong lead behind, because that's what a lot of lateral horses do, they cross canter, I am going to say, or I might slow her down, whoa, and then once I get her cantering correctly, then I'm going to keep going. So I don't want her to learn to canter on the wrong lead. A lot of lateral Pacey horses will do that, so you really have to help them learn to canter with the correct lead in the back, okay? And again, that's called cross cantering. So here we go. You don't start with this in the beginning. It's a hard exercise. You want to slowly build up to it in steps. I've done a lot of poles with her. I've done other like cantering on the lunge line, and then I added this on to help her to get the canter better. she was doing okay, but she still kept swapping in the back. You want to work up to it, and then you can use the weighted bell boot. It goes on their outside front foot. So if I'm cantering to the right, it would be on her left front foot. If I'm cantering to the left, it's on the right front foot. Why am I using a weight? It helps her to separate her legs, changes the footfall, and so it just helps her to get that lead and helps her to understand what she's supposed to do. Once she's balanced enough and can do it quite well, then the bell boot comes off and she kind of has an idea of what she's supposed to do. So it's just a tool to help her footfall so she can figure it out, kind of makes them more trotty. And you'll see when I'm cantering her, when she falls out of the canter, she's cross cantering. If I can get her into a trot, I get her into a trot and then ask her to canter, because that's much easier than them gating or pacing and then trying to canter. That makes them more lateral. So if you can get them to trot, trying to get the canter, it makes a huge difference. Let them trot even under saddle, just a couple of steps, so it helps you then to pick up that canter lead, okay? Then in time, you won't need them to trot anymore. They'll know what to do. They'll know what their job is and what the footfall is, and then you won't have to do that. And again, I don't trot like 20 steps under saddle and then get the canter. It's just a couple of steps, and then we canter off. And so she's doing really well from what she started with. She's much better. She didn't even know how to lunge when I got her. So she's getting much more balanced, but it takes time, and it takes time to condition the horse, to get them strong, to help their balance. And then again, with the younger horses, they're still growing at the same time, so that changes everything. So it's much easier though for them to learn this on the ground without you on their back, because if you're on their back and they're unbalanced, it's very hard, and all they'll try to do is keep you safe up there, and that might be cross cantering the whole time because they're unbalanced when they're cantering on the correct lead. So when you're trying to teach the horses to canter, especially when they're pacey, do a lot of groundwork. It's much more comfortable for them, it's easier for them, and it's much more comfortable for you, because otherwise they scramble, they trip, they fall. It can be quite dangerous at times. Okay, so take your time. I have lots of exercises on cantering that can help you. Okay, so I'm going to show you the exercise with another horse. He hasn't done this before, so we'll see how he does. He has done poles, just not this many of them, and he gates very nicely, and he can trot. Okay, so when you do it first, I just like to walk them through it. He started going faster. If they start going faster, just keep going. And I usually walk them through it each way, go around 3 times, switch directions, 3 times, switch directions. Then I gait them or trot them or canter them through it. Whatever they do is fine. They have to figure out the poles. They are going to trip. If they don't get to the center of the pole, they're going to see the pole out of one eye and no pole on the other one. That will make them trip more. So you try to get them to the center as much as you can. Occasionally they'll drag a toe because they don't know what's going on yet and they'll trip. So again, it's best if you do this on the ground and not under saddle in the beginning till they get really sure-footed. But it teaches them to be sure-footed. It'll help their gait get a little bit more square if they're pacey, and it will help their canter. So now I'm going to canter him. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with Georgia, but he doesn't need the bell boot because he trots a lot more than she does and canters pretty well. He's also much older. I think he's 13 and she's just 6. So he's got a lot more conditioning on him, although he's out of shape right now. All right, but we'll show you that. Okay, so I also added in, I had him canter over the one pole over there. So I'm going to tilt this a little more so you can see that. I did that at the very end. So you can do all sorts of different stuff. You're just trying to get your horse more balanced, more sure-footed, and exercises that are going to strengthen them. One lead will always be better than the other. Come on. So hopefully you can see a little bit of that. Things to know is your horse might have temper tantrums because it does want to do this. So it might rear, it might leap through the air, it might kind of bolt. Just stick it out, get a longer rope if you need it, but keep doing it with your horse. Don't give up until they do it somewhat good and without bad behavior, and every day it'll get better. But if they bolt and you quit, or they rear up and you quit, you just taught them a bad thing. And you taught them how not to go to work. So this is hard. It's like lifting weights. It's like you going to the gym and the trainer yelling at you to keep going. That's what you're doing with your horse. You're trying to make them better. The only way they can get better, stronger, more conditioned is you give them some exercises to help them to get there. Hope that helps.